Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Well, good morning, my beautiful coffee beans. This is Bullhorn Betty, and we will be getting started this beautiful Saturday morning. I hope you guys are getting ready for Thanksgiving and, of course, Christmas. this show here on the streets. Hopefully you're seeing me. I was running around. I forgot my handy dandy additional buttons, you know, and I on the last intro video, oops, did I hit a whip? I did hit a whip. I didn't mean to hit a whip. I meant to scratch my eye, and I... Who's late? Who's late? Hopefully you guys can hear it. But anyways, while we were in the last intro video before we decided to go live, and you see my face, I'm running around. I'm trying not to slip on the tile as I run in there. And I'm getting the, what does it say? Proud of the loud. There we go. I love that. Proud of the loud. We got a slogan. And just like that, a slogan was built. Oh, it's nice to see everybody this morning. I don't know what the hell we're talking about this morning. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a teenager murdered on a cruise ship by her stepbrother. We've got a mom hiding a daughter, God knows where, and now she's free to move about. We got some movement from her packing some boxes, and who else knows what we're going to get ourselves into this morning. So it's nice to see you, Lisa B. Always, E. or Blues. Melanie, good morning. Good morning, Denise. It's nice to see you. YouTuber is up and about, dancing around. Pat, it's nice to see you. Let Them 69, Texas Gal, good morning. Blessed Happy Nana is up in the house. Our beautiful Melanie is blessing us this beautiful morning. We've got Nightbot working around the clock. Thank goodness, because I haven't seen one of my mods awake yet. I'm just joking. We won't say anything to them. Tick-tock, ladies, tick-tock. I'm just joking, Neuro. It's nice to see you. Good morning, Gigi for life. Who else do we have? Jana, it's nice to see you. Cheyenne, good morning. Who knows? Good morning. Trust the process. Hey, 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 hey. Yep. It's going to be wild up in here. It's going to be wild. They'll get the memo. They'll get the memo eventually. We're not going to wake them up. We're going to drink our coffee without them. So I don't know if you guys noticed, I came late last night. Pink, it's nice to see you. Good morning. You just got off work. Well, I'm glad you could be here. Little early. Must have worked through the night. So bless you. So anyways, guys, oops. This one does not have it. Hold on. I gotta fix the chat. Gotta be able to see the whole darn thing. There you go. Happy Saturday, Betty, Delilah, Mods, and chat. Sending love to BHB because you're a love machine. Hope everyone has a good day. Woo woo! Betty's a love machine. Hey. But yesterday I did, and it was hot. I don't know why I didn't do this during the weeks that were cold. We had a whole week that was cold. It was beautiful. Oh, no. No, Betty's got to do it the difficult way. I got to wait until it heats up, hotter than HE double hockey sticks, right? And then, now today's a great day to put up the lights, okay? I am literally freshly hair washed. Why did I do it the day after I washed my hair? I don't freaking know. I have no earthly idea why in the world I want to go out and get hot and sweaty when I just had a week of cool. I could have put these lights up when I had a week of cool. Folks, don't be like me. It's literally cool in half of the country. If you do not have your Christmas lights up, get your butt out there and put your damn Christmas lights up. I'm just saying. Put the lights up. You know what? While all these hate channels used to tease me about being sweaty Betty, we're not going to discuss yesterday, okay? I don't need to give them any content for their shitty shows, okay? But, sweaty Betty, understatement. Complete understatement. I was drenched. It was disgusting, and I only had half the lights up. And then my neighbor come home, and he's like, "Oh, you decided to put the lights up." Yes, I did. A little hot, don't you think? You're in black. Thank you. Thank you for noticing. I appreciate it. You're going back in that house sometime soon, right, Mr. Glenn? Okay, great. See you later, dude. See you later. No, I'm just joking. Just joking. I was in all black yesterday. Black leggings, black shirt, black bra. Hell, I'm surprised my underwear weren't black. I was in black everything while I was out there in the blessed heat at noon. No, I couldn't wait until the morning when it's nice and cold. Like right now, it's 61 degrees outside, right? Could I have gone outside and like this morning? Perfect time, folks. If you're watching the Bullhorn Betty channel, you're doing it wrong this morning. You're not even supposed to be here. You're supposed to be out front. Well, some of you guys, it's too damn cold. You have to wait for the sun to come up. Well, if you're below the equator of the United States, okay. If you're in the South, okay, let me break it down to you. If you're in the South, you're going to want to put your Christmas lights up this morning, okay, or in the evening. I prefer morning. You know, but I'm partial to morning. I like coffee and I like the sun, okay? But please don't do what Betty did. Just don't do what Betty did. No, and there's another thing. Don't leave your fiberglass, ladder out in the sun. I need to go take my ladder and take it for a dip, okay? And a dip and paint. I came back in. I'm like, I look down and my arm is just got all these little red dots on there. And I'm like, shit. So I had to go get me a washcloth and pull all the fiberglass out of my skin. Yes, I got fiberglass in my skin yesterday, putting up Christmas lights. How in the world do you do that? Well, you leave your ladder, your fiberglass ladder out in the sun for 4 years, and it eats off all the resin on the outside of that fiberglass. And, well, when you're moving it, well, those fiberglass pieces just kind of stick right into you. It's kind of little something like that. So, anywho, I'm going to paint my ladder. I never thought I'd ever have to say that. I'm going to paint my ladder. I got to paint my ladder so I can keep the fiberglass out of my skin. But the lights are up, and I still got to do it all over again because it was too bright yesterday because I was burning up. So I couldn't see which light bulbs were burnt out and which ones weren't. Now, I could clearly see that I had a light bulb that was completely broken. I've got the big, the glass bulbs that are like this big, the old-timey 1980 lights. Those are the ones that we've got on the house, okay? They're the best lights. They're not this cheap shit anymore. You burn out a light on one of those, the whole damn string still works. You don't have to worry about it. Now, the bulbs are getting a little expensive, right? Because they're glass bulbs, and buying glass bulbs, glass anything this day and age is getting expensive. Everybody wants the fake plastic crap, not the glass bulbs, okay? I'm still a little old-fashioned like that, okay? I don't know about you. I'll put the LEDs on the around the windows. I'll put the LEDs, on the tree. But around the house, it has to be 1980s glass light bulbs. So we got 1980 glass light bulbs. So thank goodness I got 1,000 different strings of these things, and I got boxes and boxes and oodles of lights. So I'm going to either put lights up around the actual fence, which I don't want to put glass lights on a metal fence. That's kind of stupid, right? I mean, you're begging for the wind to blow and crack all your glass, okay? You're begging for it. So I think I'm just going to use the last string and take all the used light bulbs instead of getting in the box of lights, and just take the last string and just fill in all the lights out here, right? And then throw all the light bulbs. And when that light string gets empty, then we'll have a third light string. We used to wrap the whole house. I don't see any point in lighting the back of the house. Nobody's back there. What am I doing? Am I giving the trailer park a Christmas show? No. So I'm not putting the other two things. I don't want to power the back of the house. I only want to power the front of the house. It's cheaper that way. I am going to, I don't know about you guys, but every year I pick up a little more solar lighting, okay, for Christmas. If you guys are not starting to convert to solar lighting, I don't know why you're not, okay? We're getting close to Christmas. Solar lights are your friend, okay? Nobody wants to go out and spend a shit ton of money on Christmas gifts and then wake up on New Year's and get a huge bill from your electric department saying thank you for your service over Christmas, right? So do yourself a favor. Start buying $20 here, just a little bit here, a little bit there. That's all I'm saying. A little bit here, a little bit there, right? And then next thing you know, pretty soon you'll be able to convert all of your powered items for solar powered items. So do that. Start doing yourself a favor. Okay, we're done with my intro. It's nice to see all you beautiful faces. Oh, it looks like one of our mods finally showed up for work today. No, I'm just joking. Good morning, Sonia. You could smack me. It's nice to see. I don't know if anybody else, we were teasing you guys. You didn't hear what we were saying behind your back. So we're not going to tell you. We're not going to tell you. Thank goodness for handy dandy Nightbot. See, AI's taken over. I'm just joking. So anyways, I really don't know what is going on in the whole entire world. I feel like we're going a little crazy, okay? I feel like cases that shouldn't be cases are becoming viral. Cases that should be viral are being snuffed out. I'm scratching my head here. Like, we've got the Carnival Cruise murder, okay? We come to find out it's basically domestic violence, right? It's a family squabble that two teenagers got into a fight from different sides of the blended family, and one unalived the other, okay? That's what it sounds like happened. We had a family squabble. Then we have another one, which is, again, another family squabble, where we have a grandmother and a family that wants to be around a grandchild. And again, I understand and a lot of people don't. They think I really don't care for the Dinez and Meza family, personally speaking, because of what they did to this young mother. But at the end of the day, I do understand their position, okay? I understand that it's got to be very hurtful. I mean, I'm a human being with a heart and emotions. You know, I can imagine no grandma wants to ever think about never seeing their grandchild again. But my point is they've been fighting with Ashlee for all of these years. They've done, this is will they be able to ever repair the damage done between them? I don't know if they will. And that's not my place, though, right? That's not my place. My place is whether there was a crime committed and whether we have a child missing. We got law enforcement screaming. And actually, we haven't even been hearing law enforcement screaming. We've been hearing mainstream media screaming on behalf of law enforcement. But I haven't heard squat from law enforcement about the Melodee or Ashlee Buzzard case. We do know that I've been screaming from the rooftops that I believe this poor lady is being railroaded. I don't have to agree with her actions. I don't have to think that she's the best mother in the world to protect her rights. At the end of the day, we want, if somebody's going to go to court, we want them justly tried, right? We don't want them unjustly tried. And I felt that everything that they were doing was unjust to her for the situation. We don't know what happened. I'm a true believer on finding out. And for the first time, we had law enforcement spreading rumors and gossip and misinformation than mainstream media, or excuse me, than social media. And it's been social media trying to pump the brakes and get the corrected information out to the public when we're fighting the government and mainstream media to do that. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life. And that's why I knew I was dealing with something that I had not dealt with in the past, not any time recently. I mean, I dealt with it in my personal life, like back in Sumner County when I was being railroaded. But at the end of the day, I know a railroad job when I see it. That's why I knew when I was being railroaded in Sumner County. Okay, I've been around the block a time or two. I'm involved with law enforcement. Okay, I'm a political activist in my community. Okay, I've got my tentacles on arms literally in everything across this country. Okay, across this country from the White House on down, right? And to think that I don't know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at it is crazy. I do. And again, had this been any other case in any other state, we would be having a different conversation. As a matter of fact, if we were in any other state, they would have had enough probable cause to force this woman to either turn over her child or her go to jail. And but we're not in any other state. We're in the state of California. And that's where the first problem we're having, comes up. It's so painful not being in a grand's life. And I understand that, Lisa. That's why I've been very, in a very peculiar situation because I know I got a lot of grandparents in here. And that's why I said you guys got to remove your emotions, because this is going to be an emotional talking point. And if we are in our emotions, we're going to be saying, yes, this child should be around the grandparents. Yes, this child should be in the school. Yes, 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 yes. Everything Ashlee is doing is wrong, and da-da-da-da-da-da, which, in all fairness, those are our opinions, and at the end of the day, we had to remove, at least for me, I had to remove my emotions about that because, again, I understand the family. I actually cared about that, worried about the Meza family at the beginning, but then when I started realizing what truly transpired to get us to this point is when I said, enough's enough. I'm not going to paint these people as victims. They're not going to be they're not going to be painted as victims on my channel because they're not. They're victims in part, but so is Ashlee and so is Melodee. At the end of the day, they're all victims of Rubiel's death. Okay. Rubiel is Melodee's father, and Melodee's father, as many of you guys know, if you've been watching the case, know that he passed away because he was in a motorcycle accident and lost his life. And that happened when Melodee was about between 5 and 6 months old. Okay. So I can't imagine what it must be to be a mom with a brand new baby and your significant other being gone. Just waking up one day and he's gone. He was probably the financer and stuff like that. And, this family, for whatever reason, maybe it was too painful at first to go and be around his family or be reminded. We don't know what that is like for a single mom, and it's different for everyone. Okay. People grieve differently. But the thing is, and we acknowledge that people grieve differently, but the difference is they grieve. And in this case, everybody is grieving, right? Everybody grieved, for Rubiel. His mother still grieves. You can see every time she brings him up, her heart breaks. Okay. We're not going to take that away from his mom. We're not going to take the pain away from Ashlee either. At the end of the day, granted, Ashlee didn't give birth to Rubiel, but she made life with Rubiel, and he was snuffed out of her life in that wreck as well. And while this family could have helped her, it didn't appear that they did. It didn't appear that anybody stepped up to the plate when Rubiel was gone. It didn't seem like anybody, was helping to financially support her. She was probably going through postpartum depression and a lot of other things that go along with the pain of losing a significant person and having a brand new baby that you've got to raise. She's gone through a lot of trials and tribulations, and she's lost one of her children as a product of those trials and tribulations. And as a mom, she does not want to lose her child. I can't imagine how painful that must be to give birth to a child and lose one child and not be able to see that child, because I don't hear anything about her being able to, and that probably hurts her. That's probably part of this whole PTSD type of scenario that I believe she's living in. She was on the run with her own mother, fleeing from her own abusive father. She grew up. She met a guy that she obviously fell in love with. It sounds like she had a baby with another guy, not Rubiel. I don't think Destiny is Rubiel's child, but Melodee is. I would like to find out about Destiny a little more, find out where she is and what happened there. But, again, that's not really public information, and we've only learned of Destiny in passing conversations with other family members, So all of this does kind of play into her why she's fighting so hard to make sure nobody takes Melodee. And to see this story any other way once you started getting that, like, I can understand. I think all of us initially, when we first heard the story, this child missing for a year, we've heard this story before, right? I mean, the first thing that came to my mind was Harmony Montgomery's case. I mean, I think that's who comes to most of our minds when we hear that. And we know how horrible that case turned out. So to have us initially come into this case with that in mind, I mean, we wanted Ashlee's blood, right? Like, we wanted to slap the snot out of this woman, all right? So let's not get it twisted. We did not like Ashlee. I'm not a fan of Ashlee's. I'm not a fan of Ashlee's. I don't have any position on her, and quite frankly, or them as a family, other than what they've done to this woman, and how I truly believe we're in this position, and specifically in this situation as a direct result of what they did to her before. I truly believe that in my heart and in my soul. I was pleasantly surprised to see Lily Dinez after court. You know, you could hear a change in her tone. I think she realizes that, you know, she wants to know where her granddaughter is, but I think everybody at this point knows that this child is being hidden. That's what the evidence is showing. Law enforcement hasn't said boo. I think they understand that's what the evidence is showing, and I think they're in the process of not saying anything further until they speak to their legal department, which would be something that I would have recommended long time ago, especially before they called this lady a murderer and a potential, you know, selling of a child, publicly of all things, knowing that that's not what the evidence. And they had, this is what pisses me off. Law enforcement, trust me, if something were to happen to me, my sheriff, Sheriff Rick Wells here in Manatee County, would probably have more of a history on me than anybody else, okay? He would know more about me. That's his job. His job is to know who's in his county and who they are as people, okay? That is the sheriff's job, whether you like it or not. If a good sheriff is going to get out and meet his community, okay? In this particular scenario, they should have had knowledge of this. This woman has lived in their community her entire life, okay? Her entire life. Her entire life is in Lompoc or Santa Maria, okay? That's her. She's lived there her entire life. She's a 40-year-old woman. And if law enforcement truly doesn't know who this woman is, that should be a first clue, okay? My sheriff knows me personally, so if anything personally happened to me, you know, he would know. He knows my mom, he knows my dad, you know, he knows my peeps. He would be the one calling. But I don't think that my sheriff for me would be a little different because I do have a checkered background, right? I mean, my 20s were something straight out of the Night of the Living Dead. And, you know, then he had to deal with me as an activist, you know, fighting for other children and other advocacy in this county. So if something were to happen to me, he knows pretty much everything. He would already have my victimology. He would already, you know, he knows that I live a quiet, very quiet life now. You know, I mean, he just knows a lot about me. I don't expect this lady to have that kind of relationship with her sheriff, but she's lived in this community 40 years. I expect them to have some type of knowledge on her. And if they don't, and to have no clue who she is, that should be a clue in and of itself that she's not a troublemaker. Okay? She's not a troublemaker. And then they're trying to convince us that she's a troublemaker. It's kind of hard to do that, you know? I mean, like my older sister, she was a troublemaker, but she blamed me for everything. So she always looked like the angel and I always looked like the rotten child, you know? That was the gig, you know, with my older sister. My older sister is now, you know, the angel because she was able to keep those angel wings and that halo of growing up, you know, that was propped up by her freaking horns. I'm just saying, I love my sister, but damn. Damn. Oh, good gracious. Double tap the screen to like this live. Well, you must be on a Samsung or an Android because I tried doing that from my on another channel. I can't remember what it was, but I tried to do it on another channel when I was watching it and I was on my phone. I'm like, it wouldn't let me tap. Didn't let me double tap. They didn't let me double tap. No, you're gonna have to wait. I already took you outside and played with you this morning. I already took you outside and played with you. There should be no reason why you're over here begging. She's already gotten some BALL time. I'm just saying. Because she was in a mood and she was really rambunctious this morning and she wanted to go play with the neighbor dog. And so I took her out and I realized the neighbor dog wasn't up yet. So I'm like, you know, she was being stubborn. She wanted to play with the neighbor dog. I wasn't going to go knock on the door. So I'm like, okay, well, she wouldn't come back. So I'm like, let's go play BALL, and she's like, right? And she comes running around like she's in the freaking derby, and next thing you know, I'm out there tossing the ball. So she's the BALL. Hopefully she. think we're safe. Shh, I think we're safe. I don't think she heard the whole word out, Shh. Got to be very careful what we say in this house, okay? It's the difference between having a freaking chaotic morning with a howling or having a peaceful morning like we're having right now. We got to be careful with the words that we use, okay? I'm just saying. So, I must have cussed. If Sonia's putting up cuss cost, can't even, tongue-tied. Cuss cost. The cost to cuss. That might work a little better. Something must have slipped out because I only see these posts come out whenever I say something. So the door, I think it was, even though gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm just saying, something must have slipped out that I didn't realize slipped out. But in the Melodee Buzzard case, I saw the grandma out there yesterday when she was like, this case is over. Or was it the day before yesterday? I can't remember. My days are starting to run together. But Lily was out there and she had the umbrella and she was talking. And you could see that she's kind of coming to reality that, I don't think, she didn't say anything negative. I didn't hear her say anything negative about Ashlee. Every other time she makes it very known that she doesn't like Ashlee. She wants to punch Ashlee in the face, and she doesn't even care if she goes to jail. I'm sure it's hyperbole. I mean, I don't think she's literally going to go up and smack the snot out of Ashlee, but I don't know. I mean, are they that kind of family? Yeah, we got to take it. It's possible. Betty needs a Christmas bucket to match her PJs. Those PJs are awesome, though. I like those PJs. I was looking, and there was another green set of PJs that had dogs all over it. And I'm like, Christmas dogs, and I'm like, I'm thinking because I'm partial to those puppy pajamas, right? You know that, right? It's hard for me not to do the dogs, and they were cute too, but they weren't as satin and as cute or as fluffy as that. I spent like $10 extra on that set than the doggy set, but I like the satin and I like the little frillies. Where's the candy canes? Well, I'm putting the Christmas is going up this year. Since 2023, I haven't celebrated Christmas because my whole life fell apart like right before Christmas in 2023. So for the last 2 years, I've ran away from. I haven't celebrated Christmas. I haven't. I mean, I bought some stuff for Laura's grandkids. I didn't buy anything for any of my family. Nothing. I didn't celebrate. I didn't put a tree up. Didn't put decorations up. Didn't celebrate, didn't say thank you to the world, didn't thank you to my creator, didn't really care for the last 2 years. I just kind of, whatever. I've been in a very, very bah humbug mood for the holidays. And so this year I've decided I'm going to pull myself out of my bah humbug mood for the holidays. And it all started with me going out and I saw this little blow up thing for the yard, one of those things that you plug in that blows up and it has air, but then you unplug it and it flattens out on the ground. It's just like cloth or whatever, parachute material. And so I bought that and I'm like, am I going to put it up this year? And then I found, I remember one year, and I know it was I think after my husband and I divorced, because I was in a humbug mood then too. And I got this little stake with the lights, the green and red lights that just laser lights, So I just did that one year. I just stuck something in the ground just to light up the house, just really, really no Christmas tree, no nothing. And that was years ago. Well, I apparently I didn't box that up. So I ended up buying this new blowy thing up for the yard. And then I found the laser show that I forgot to pack up in the Christmas stuff. But by the time I found all this stuff, I had already made my mind up that I was going to put on a Christmas this year. And so I had already started pulling out the boxes. So I got my Christmas boxes pulled out from the barn, the one barn that survived all the hurricanes. Out of 2 barns, one was completely demolished. There's not even a side of the barn left. I mean, it's just, I got a flooring that's falling apart and still stuff standing there. Like I got a garage that I have no place to put it, so I just keep it out there. I don't know what to do with it. I seriously don't know what to do with it. I got shelving. The shelving never blew away. And I've got shelving with all this stuff on it, and I don't know what to do with it because I got no place to put it. So it just stays there. What do you do? I don't know. Okay. I don't know what to do with it. I don't have the ability to go out. I guess I do. I could theoretically go out and build another platform and put another shed up. Okay. We're talking about $1,000. I could theoretically do that, but I don't want to. Okay. I don't want to. I've made up my mind. I want out. I want out of this house. I want out of this area. So I've got it in my mind that, I'm just going to grin and bear it until I got the ability to blow this popsicle stand, right? I'm not going to lie. I don't like my house, okay? I just don't like it. I want a pool and I want a freaking garage, okay? I don't want a mismatched house. I want to get this thing sold. I want to get whatever I can get out of it, and I want to flee, okay? I want to flee Manatee County. That's what I want to do. I want to move somewhere where nobody knows where I live. And that'll make the hate channels just go cray-cray. And that's okay, and I'll know better because next house I buy, I'm putting it in a trust. And then you effers can't ever track me down, okay? I mean, you might be able to a little bit, but I'm literally willing to buy a freaking 1-bedroom, 1-bath place like 80 million miles away from where I'm at just to put my freaking address on it. So even when you guys do try to stalk me next time, you're going to Timbuktu to find me. I'm just saying. 2 can play this game, and I got a lot more money, so just saying. I'm land poor, but I got a lot more money. All right. So anyways, we've got this whole situation where this child was on the ship. Now, this is not a very good, there's obviously in Anna Kepner's life, she obviously has a mother that's an addict. Okay, I can sniff an addict out a mile away. I mean, we're not talking about alcohol abuse. We're talking about full-fledged addiction. Okay, this woman obviously is on something. I don't know what, but and I don't. It doesn't really matter. I mean, mom is mom. She lost a child. We're not going to punish her for being an addict. A lot of us have had past issues. So we hope that she gets help. I don't know how this is going to help her with that. She, much like Xana Kernodle's mom, Xana Kernodle's mom ended up going off the deep end after Xana lost her life when Brian unalived her. But this is a mother that has been removed from her child for the obvious reasons. Most likely the substance abuse is what I would presume. The father did not want the mother. I do not agree with that. I don't care what your relationship is with a significant other. I don't think it's right, whether that person was in that life or not, or you hate them or whatever the case may be. That child would not be born into this world without both mommy and daddy. Okay. Life happens. People make a lot of mistakes, but they don't ever expect their children to perish before them. Okay. Even if mom was a party animal, I don't think she would have expected this. And even when she did expect this, there's a lot of blame, especially for an addicted parent. They did it to themselves. I'm not going to sit there and make the job easier on them or, act like that they're some type of victim. They are in part some type of victim, but it's self-inflicted victimization. They chose to stay out of the child's life. They chose that the child would be better raised or suited by this, and they set it and forget it. They knew their child was taken care of. They knew their child was safe, and they went on partying, right? They didn't give up their life. And I think that is what we're dealing with here with Anna's mom. Anna's mom didn't, she's got some photos. There was obviously a change from when Anna was a little girl, and it seems like her mother's addiction must have gotten a lot worse, and dad said, "You're not going to your mom's anymore." And that was basically it. But I don't ever think that a child loses that love for their parents. And I don't agree when the child is gone that you should not allow that parent, even if the parent was an absent parent, to have that final word in saying goodbye to their child. I think that is just wrong. And I think, and I understand that the father might be in a lot of pain and angry with the mom. I get that. And nothing's going to change that. And he might be very, this is a very serious situation. His stepson killed his daughter. I can't imagine what he must be going through as a dad. He might be going through a lot of stuff. He may very well be on his last legs too. I mean, a father and a father's love for his daughter, daddy's little girl, is something that is indescribable. The relationship and bond that a young girl has with her father and the father has with their young girl. And so, he's dealing with all these pains, and then he's got to worry about her mother, and he probably just doesn't want anything to do with it. And you can tell her the mom is an addict. Okay, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She apparently dressed in a disguise and went to her daughter's funeral anyways, just to be there. But she couldn't even stay for the whole funeral because of her anxiety, allegedly. And I say, I don't think it was anxiety. I think she wanted to go do substances. And an addict is an addict. They can't you can't sit still long enough to do anything normal. Okay, that's probably the reason why they had the problems that they did, and this mom was not in her daughter's life to begin with. But I don't believe that her daughter hated her, and likewise, it's just part of the stuff. I don't get to see my father. I think my dad loves me. If anything happened to me, I think my dad would be one of the first people out looking for me. My dad loves me. We just love each other from afar, and sometimes that's what families have to do when there's so much toxicity in the family that you can't really move forward together as a family. It doesn't mean that the people don't love each other. It just means for whatever reason they can't function the way that they need to function. In this case, I truly believe it was because of the mom. Her mom was an addict. So this is, I think, the family. I think this is her friend. Okay, this goes over her mom. So I don't want to get through right here. I'm just going to get to this part.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Heather, I'm so sorry that we're talking under these. I can, yeah, and I'm so sorry that we're talking under these circumstances. I wanted to ask you what you can tell me about the cruise ship coming back into dock, and we were aware that your daughter was offloaded in a gurney from that cruise ship.
So this is the mother. Her name's Heather Wright. And again, you can see her here. She obviously had a relationship with her children when they were younger. And she looked healthier when they were younger. She doesn't look this healthy now. I will tell you that. She looks like she's lost all of her teeth. She just, in my opinion, she looks pretty bad. I hope she gets help. And I can't imagine this making things better for her. But you guys will see here shortly. But it's sad that she found out through social media. Again, you don't have to like your significant other. You may absolutely hate them. They may not want anything. But I still think when a child is lost, that it's just sad. It's just sad for any mother to ever find out her child. And I don't care how horrible the mother was, but it's got to be, I don't think this mother probably did terrible things, but it was probably because of the substances, we have to look at that. I don't want to give people excuses because they're on substances, because people do horrible things on substances and they have to be held accountable for those things. But at the end of the day, substances make you do things that you wouldn't normally do, and a mom would absolutely leave their child with their father so they didn't have any responsibilities, so they could go party. And but I don't think her mom didn't love her. I think her mom was comfortable enough to know that her child was taken care of, and that's all she cared about, in her addiction.
And that investigators were aware right away. But as I understand it, you weren't told
Vicky. Phil, it's nice to see you.
Was dead.
No, my ex-husband did not try to contact me at all whatsoever to let me know that my daughter died. I found out because I live in Oklahoma, and
I was trying to figure out because her voice sounded so much older, and I was trying to figure out, when I first heard this, it was before I realized that the mom was this addict, and I couldn't understand why her voice sounded so much older. So I can tell she says, smokes stuff.
my youngest son goes to school with a good friend of mine's nephew, and he told her nephew that his sister was murdered on a cruise ship. So I got a text message saying, "Hey, is Anna on a cruise? And you need to find out right away and call me." And I was like, "Do what?" So I called Anna's cell phone. She didn't answer. So then I got a hold of her on TikTok. Well, tried to get a hold of her on TikTok. She still didn't answer. So I started questioning, why is she asking me about that? So I got on my ex-husband's Facebook, where there was nothing on there. So I got on to
there's her mom, and again, you can kind of start seeing that her mom, has substance issues, and she even talks about her first stepmother raising her. The first stepmother basically raising this child. So this mom has pretty much been absent from her child's life, and why the father most likely didn't call her, because she had visitation, and you can see all the photos that she gave the News Nation were of this child young. It looks like her daughter was under 10 years old in many of these photos. Well, that was like a decade ago. It seems like she hasn't really been involved in her daughter's life in about 10 years. And those are the most important times in a child's life. They're going through a lot of change, puberty, they need their mothers, they're starting their periods, they're doing, going through a lot of female changes that, moms, little girls need their moms to discuss about. And, her stepmom is the one that raised her. And her mom's a little, you can see her mom's a little hurt that she wasn't invited and is basically told to stay out. But in all fairness, it sounds like she hasn't really been in, she may talk to her daughter here and there when her daughter calls her, or she calls her daughter. But for the most part, it sounds like she doesn't really have a good, strong relationship with her own kids. So, but again, she didn't do this, okay? She wasn't expecting to have to bury a child. And even drug addicts have feelings, okay? They feel real pain. They feel real loss. And I just want to put that out there as well.
Abby, his second wife's Facebook, is the woman that raised my daughter.
See?
And there I seen a picture of
the woman that raised
with
my daughter.
flowers on it. And Cabby saying they were going to leave it at the high school for a short time as a memorial for Anna. And so that's when I Googled 18-year-old dies on cruise ship is what I put in the search bar. And that's when my daughter's face popped up all over Google.
I cannot even imagine. Yeah, I just, honest to God.
See, this is when Anna's older, and you can see the significant change in her mother. Her mother's jaw, her mother's cheeks are all sunk in. Her mother has the wild hair, and this is probably at the time that her dad says, "You're done with your mom. We're not sending you back to your mom." Something must have happened when she visited, because you can see that Anna's much older in this photo, and you can see how horrible her mother looks in this photo. Her mother looks like she's, losing her life to drugs, so whatever substances that is, meth, crackling, or, H, we don't know, but it's clear she's on something. Okay. This is not effects of alcohol. Okay. This is effects of substances.
I cannot even imagine finding out about your daughter's death by Googling and not getting a call. And to make matters worse, there was a celebration of life. I'm not sure if it was a full...
See, you can see how far she's come. I mean, this was her mother when she was younger, and you just saw her. So you can see that you don't get from here to that with alcohol. That is absolutely substances. Okay, that's major addiction to crack, meth, or H. Okay. Those are the only things that get you looking like that. Okay. I'm sorry, but I haven't found any other substances that make you look like that other than those three substances. So if you guys know of something else, please let me know.
Full-fledged funeral, but there was some kind of memorial held yesterday, and I'm told that you were banned, that your ex-husband banned you from going. Can you walk me through what happened and what the circumstances were?
He told me that when I told him I was coming down there, he said that that he knew for a fact that Anna would not want me there. And I said, that's a lie. I was like, but whatever. And he goes, if you step foot in Florida, I will have you arrested immediately for back child support.
And so you went anyway.
So he was even threatening her. And again, I'm not going to get into the quabbles because you can clearly see that there was something going on here. Obviously, Dad had to raise these children, because Mom was absent. Mom was too busy, obviously getting high, and she knows that. And you can hear her having those conversations with him because she knows she has not been in this child's life, but she's still a mom and it's still got to be fairly painful for her. And she wants to be there. And I guarantee for the rest of her life, she's going to be punishing herself for this. It's just it's what addicts do.
Anyway, right?
Yeah.
In disguise?
Yeah. I wore a wig and I wore some really tall high heels, so that way, if he was looking for somebody short, he wouldn't see me.
And were you able to attend the funeral? Did anyone see you or spot you? Tell me what happened next when you got there.
Nobody spotted me. I kind of stayed
Yeah, exactly, Amelia.
close to the door, so if I needed to make a quick getaway, I could. It was really nice. They had a lot of pictures of my daughter. I didn't see her dad, but then again, I wasn't trying to either. I stayed for a little bit, but I didn't stay for the whole thing. My anxiety got too high, and I had to go.
And what? Tell me a little bit about the funeral. What was said about Anna at the funeral?
They just talked about how she was a great kid and she did really well in school. She wanted to join the military. She had her boating license before she was able to get her driver's license.
So she was a boater, So her mom, obviously kept, in the know of what was going on with her daughter, which, again, I personally know that there's a lot of women, especially when I was in that would talk about their children, talk about the families. And I know that they hurt and they knew what they were doing was hurting their family and they still couldn't stop, So a lot of them gave their children to their parents or the children's father's side of the family or whatever the case may be, and it still didn't, they were still in pain. They still felt that pain and that disappointment of not taking care of their children every single day of their life. But they found a way to get through it. And most of them got through it by using more substances, and I kind of feel like that's what we're going to be dealing with here. But she obviously had some money to get to Florida from Oklahoma. That couldn't have been a cheap trip.
Do you know anything about the suspect in this case? And I say suspect not because police have said it. It's the 16-year-old stepbrother. Do you know anything about the stepbrother and the dynamic between Anna and him?
No, because I didn't even know that Tabitha and Christopher had gotten a divorce. I didn't even.
Oh, so there's some information that I had missed. So it sounded like the blended families were split, and at least that's my understanding. Let's listen to that because it might be some more information. Let me listen to that a little bit better.
Stepbrother and the dynamic between Anna and him.
No, because I didn't even know that Tabitha and Christopher had gotten a divorce. I didn't even know he remarried. Like I said, Christopher and I do not talk whatsoever, and he made it extremely difficult for me to even have a relationship with my daughter. And
I don't think he made it extremely difficult. You could clearly see that he had reasons to, not maybe want his daughter around this, just saying. I mean, I can clearly, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to substances. I can look at somebody and tell whether they were one or none, right? I'm sorry, I just can, and so can any other addict.
Last time I seen my daughter, he again made me look like a piece of shit. So when I was getting on the airplane, I flicked him off and called him a few choice words I probably shouldn't have. And he told my daughter that I was telling her that. I was talking to her. So at that point, Anna kind of stopped talking to me. So I'd call her on her birthday and holidays, but that's about it.
On her birthday and holidays. And so to be clear with the viewers about the family tree, you were married to Christopher Kepner. You split with him. He married Tabitha. He split with her, but had a child. And then when he split with her, he then met... Say that again?
He has 2 children by Tabitha.
2 children by Tabitha. And then he married Chantel, and they've got 2 kids as well, or at least she has 2, but they have no natural children between them, correct?
As far as I'm aware of, yeah.
Okay, so she was unaware that the first wife that raised her daughter, she did not realize that Tabitha and Chris had gotten a divorce. Now I understand. So she didn't realize he was remarried. So this sounds like the lady and her son is his new wife and her son.
She's got the 16-year-old boy who's considered the suspect in her custody papers and a 9-year-old minor child over whom she's fighting with her ex-husband. But you don't know anything about the dynamic regarding this 16-year-old boy. You weren't even aware that she had this 16-year-old stepbrother?
No, I wasn't. I did find out the other day that my sister was the one that sent me the message that the ex-boyfriend's mother sent her.
So it sounds like she hasn't spoke to her daughter in years, because she had no idea this ex that Tabitha was no longer, that her and Chris weren't married, and you'd have to assume that they would have had a courting date, courting period between the new wife, before they tied the knot, got married, and moved the family all into the house. And it sounds like she's in the process of having custody dispute with her ex-husband or her husband, because it doesn't sound like they may be married. It might just be a courtship, a relationship. I don't know. This is getting convoluted. Lots of people.
And I'm the one that put it in the media that even though she didn't want it, I thought it needed to be seen about him sneaking into my daughter's room.
Has anyone from the FBI or from the local police, has anyone called you at all to try to get any information, or at least inform you of what's going on with the investigation into your daughter's death?
Not that I'm aware of.
And will they take your calls?
I called the number once, and I haven't gotten a call.
Do you have a Crystal Pistol? Can you send that to me to the email? Let me know if you found it, or you can. I missed that. I do know that I heard the ex-boyfriend spoke to her biological brother and told him that there was a commotion in the room, and he tried to get back into the room, and his stepbrother would not allow him in and told him to leave. And he said it sounded like there was an altercation and things were being moved in the room. But that's as much as I heard. I didn't hear that there was that she talked about the step. Well, unless that's what you're talking about, because that is what I heard.
Call back.
And you and your ex-husband, Anna's father, are not even speaking over the death of the daughter that you share together. Is that correct?
No. Yeah.
And she also has a son, too.
It's just heartbreaking. Heather, I'm so sorry that you're going through this, and I really hope.
And I feel bad for the lady, that she's going through this. But, this is why it's so important to be a good mom to your children, because you know what? This mom never gets an opportunity to tell her daughter how sorry she was for everything. She'll never get to see her daughter again. Tomorrow's never going to come for this mother. And I'm pretty sure while she's out there in the streets partying and having a good time, she's waiting for the day that she gets an opportunity to have a moment with her child. And now she knows forever that is never happening. It's never going to happen. She'll never get to say goodbye to her daughter. And it's sad. And it's sad, and it hurts my heart. But, again, just like the Dinez family and the Meza family, I understand where they're coming from, but it doesn't change the fact that here we are. And at the end of the day, that was the right of that person, just like it was the right of Anna's father to keep her from her what I would assume is a drug addicted mom. And, much like Xana Kernodle's case, I don't think that this mom, will get over it. I feel bad that she put herself in this situation, but here we are. Hopefully she seeks help and, maybe she gets sober out of honor for her daughter, and maybe become a different person for her son's life and become a different kind of mom. There's things that help people, hopefully she takes the silver lining. And she did die on Dad's watch, though. You're right. And that's the hard part about blended families, especially ones that come with children. How violent are those children? What type of home did they come out of? How is their children handling, control? This is obviously a lack of control issue. The child got mad and beat the girl up until she was gone. It sounds like he took his arm and pinned her up against something and was screaming at her until she was gone. That's a lot of anger, and it takes a lot of force. And you're talking about something that happens and it's not quick. Okay. You can't just lose somebody's life just like that for strangulation. It takes 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes to strangle somebody. You're talking, let's talk tick 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You got to do that 120 times. You're talking about a long time. Okay? This is not something that's quick. And he kept going and going and going. And then, now he's in and it seems like the dad, anybody that speaks out about this family, they're cutting him out because there was somebody that was in part of the obituary, and he broke the silence and actually leaked the fact that it was the stepbrother, and they removed him from the obituary, that side of the entire family. They literally called the newspaper and had their names pulled off the obituary. So the father is very venomous at the moment, which we can understand. This is his daughter. This is a private matter that is very, very, very much public. It seems like they have a great lifestyle. It seems like they come from money, and God knows this is probably going to destroy their entire life. Okay. I'm just letting you guys know, this is when you have a lot of money, it only takes an event like this. And look at John Benet Ramsey's father. They lost everything. They lost everything when their child just, and that's what people don't understand is parents literally lose everything when a child dies. Okay. And God forbid it's somebody in the family, or you've got to defend somebody in the family or something like that. And then you rock an you're emotionally bankrupt, and then you become financially bankrupt to boot. It is the most miserable, horrible situation to watch unwind right in front of your eyes. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful.
Well, we know Ashlee Buzzard likes to.
We've got, Ashlee Banfield's been on my channel quite a bit here lately. I'm not a fan of Ashlee Banfield. Sometimes, she gives good reporting. Sometimes, most of the time she gives decent reporting. But when she's wrong, she's really wrong. And she never, ever, ever just changes gears and just acknowledges she's wrong. She always has to double down because she's freaking Ashlee Banfield. It's what I hate about her. It's the one thing that I absolutely can't stand about Ashlee Banfield. She's been wrong about this case. She's wrong. She's right about a lot of cases, but she has been absolutely wrong about Ashlee Buzzard. So very wrong about Ashlee Buzzard. And, once again, she just keeps driving this narrative because she thinks that when a government official knocks on your door, even though she's a legal professional, I'm a legal professional, I do not comply. Okay, my reputation has been built on not complying with government overreach. Okay, literally my reputation, my whole entire political reputation is based on law and order and lack of government overreach. Right, I'm anti-government overreach. Okay. And even coming down to that whole thing with the curfew for our community, I had one of our attorneys in the community call me and wanted to discuss it, and feels like it is government overreach and doesn't like it, even though it is, kids under the age, kids don't really have the rights and stuff like that. So I told him, I'm middle of the road with it, and I'm middle of the road with it because I am anti-government overreach, and anything, but they're also underage, and we know that parents aren't watching their kids like they should. And unfortunately, sometimes that means that the communities have to turn our police officers into babysitters. Okay. And that's what their job calls for. That's what their job calls for. It is what it is. But in this particular matter, this case is completely wrong. This case has been wrong from the very beginning. It defied logic. It didn't bode with a lot of our cases. There was a lot of nuances that were wrong in here. And the majority of the time, things in this case were changing, but usually when things change in cases or people are changing their statements in cases, it's usually the suspect. And in this case, we had a suspect that was remaining silent. We had a suspect that was not saying boo, yet the story was changing wildly. How in the hell does that happen? Right? And so that's where our first inclination that something isn't right with this case. And I started diving into a different angle of this case, and I started hitting pay dirt, and it started explaining this case a hell of a lot better than what we were going at first. And then it started dawning on me, we've got ourselves a problem here. We've got a woman that everybody keeps trying to call crazy, which I didn't believe, because and the reason why I didn't believe is because she was making very smart decisions that I would be making if I was wanting to hide somebody. I would be making these decisions. This is not decisions that came from a batshit crazy woman. These were smart, strategic decisions. Okay, not decisions that were made by somebody that's a hothead. Okay, or acting without forethought. She knew what she was doing, and she was acting in a certain very specific behavior. And so we had to understand why she was acting in that very specific behavior. And of course, the Dinez family and Meza family filled in the blanks. And then everything from that point started making sense. It explained Iowa. It explained everything we were seeing in her history. But the one thing we weren't seeing in her history was this fact that she was a revolving door at an insane asylum, or that she was at a revolving door at a jail cell. Usually our unmedicated and basket case mentally ill individuals in our communities go to one or the other, okay? They're either constantly in a mental ward or they're constantly in a jail, okay? That's how we deal with the mentally ill in this country, period. Okay, and so to only have one event for this woman and zero criminal arrest for this woman, that even her history wasn't boding with what they were saying, because let's face it, people act the same. One of the reasons why we're able to work well in this environment is because you're expecting the same exact thing from case to case. Yes, the details of the case may change. Yes, the faces of the case may change. Yes, the names of the case may change. But at the end of the day, most of our cases act in a very similar manner. You've got a situation. Typically, you have substances, alcohol, drugs, or abuse inside a home. There's a clear spinning of out of control that leads up to this, event of homicide or, of hiding, whatever. And then goes the lies. Like, we have a way, like, these cases act similar from case to case. You expect this to happen. You expect this. You're waiting for it, because that's telling you that this case, like, you have these triggers, like, we're going to get here. If this is truly this case, we should, in another week, we should be hearing this language from law enforcement. It's that defined in our world here on the Bullhorn Betty channel, that we're expecting to hear certain language coming from law enforcement on such and such day or around such and such day. And if we know that we're hearing those statements at that time, we know we're on the right track. So there's a lot of little nuances that I do behind the scenes that you guys don't do that make this that make us a lot more accurate than we once were. It's because we have been identifying and notating all of these different behaviors and procedures and stuff like that, so we know what step we're in at every single, phase of a case. We know where we're at. This case was not, at first it was hitting all of the right stuff, but literally within that first few days, the case started getting wonky and it wasn't lining up to what we were accustomed to seeing in these types of cases. And so that's when we started saying, this is not right, but there must be a reason why. So I sticking there. Then Vinnie Politan comes on. I'm screaming at the TV saying, we don't know that. And then I dive in, realize what we're dealing with in this case. And lo and behold, more and more information was being released that proved our statements accurate. Okay. And so we've been under that premise that these statements that were made or in the actions that were done were in an effort to hide her child. And once we realize the child is truly being hidden, obviously a child's not deceased. She's being hidden. There's no history of violence, substance abuse, or anything else in this woman's background that would show that she has what it takes to just go and toss the body of her, it just doesn't work that way. Okay. You could see that this child was being doted upon at that budget rental car. A mom's not going to look down on her child lovingly like that if she hates her so much she's ready to offer. Okay. I'm sorry. Nothing boded right in this case, after that first week. Everything was kind of collapsing on itself. The story wasn't lining up where it needed to line up. Things weren't making sense, and I was trying to find out why. And the only explanation was that she's hiding this child from the state. Why would she be doing that? And then I started looking at the behaviors, and I started looking at the laws, and I realized that she's being railroaded. And anybody that's being railroaded, I wouldn't trust them. I'm not going to trust them. At this point, she's lucky. This case has gotten bigger. There's a lot of eyes on it, including mine. And I know a lot of people want to talk shit about the Bullhorn Betty channel, but we keep people in line on this channel. We do a lot of stuff behind the scenes in reporting people and keeping people, if they're doing wrong, them being reprimanded for their wrong acting. We don't necessarily, like what I do with Sumner County, yeah, a lot of that's public, but even a lot of the stuff that I'm doing advocacy wise is all private. You guys have no idea what letters I'm writing. You have no idea where I'm sending this stuff. You have no idea what databases or information or sources I'm using to get my job done behind here. You just know that stuff happens, that when I say things happen, a few months later we hear some things coming up that sound like what I was just parroting. That's what we learn, right? And everything's hunky-dory when we go on about our life and everything like that. That's advocacy. That's advocacy. We did a lot of work here. I've got a lot of people that I know right now, like Ron DeSantis. I got nothing I can do with him. Okay. Byron Donalds, somebody I know, somebody I worked with, somebody I sat down with his wife and picked her brain at breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. He has an opportunity to be our governor. Somebody that I have a good working relationship with, I'm going to be working on getting them to become governor. Why? Because I've got things that I need to get done for the state of Florida, okay, that I can't do with Ron DeSantis at the helm. But once we get our new governor in, then we will potentially have that. I remember Matt Gaetz had reached out to me when I was at Mar-a-Lago. I was at an event in Mar-a-Lago. And he came up and asked me, and he was asking me if I would support him for governor. And I said I would happily support him for governor. And I gave him the nuance, unless Byron Donalds is running. Because if Byron Donalds is running, I was screaming at SAS in 2022, there's our future governor, like in the middle of SAS, like screaming it from up atop of the thing, laying down, and then Byron's just waving. Byron and Erica are just, they're walking down the stairs. I think they might even have been on the escalator. They're walking down. Okay, like I want Byron. And I don't even think DeSantis can, but I think he's trying to do something and get into the Senate or something. I don't think DeSantis is over politically. It's just that I don't know how much of him I'm going to be able to support. I can tell you this. The difference between our new people coming in and our old people going out is the fact that, like DeSantis, when you go to an event of DeSantis, guess what he has? He has rows and rows of all of his VIPs, right? So the people that have to vote for him are sitting behind the VIPs. You see what I'm saying? However, you go to Donald Trump's rally or you go to this rally, you can sit up in the front row, because you're his voter. You're the people. Yeah, these people, they're financing, but they want a favor. So why are you giving them front row seats? Those aren't the people you need. You already got their vote. This is the difference. You already got their vote, and DeSantis puts us all the way. I was a front row Joe, and I went to one DeSantis event. I went to a Trump event where we're all welcomed up front and everything like that. And then I go to a DeSantis event. I'm in my front row Joe's jersey, and I go to a DeSantis event to support DeSantis. And I couldn't even walk up to DeSantis to get the book because I was one of the first 100 people, and he gave this book away for free. And I couldn't even get him to sign my book because of all of the VIPs that were there wanting to speak to him or shake his hand. They're VIPs. They can do that. They can pick up the phone and call him. He alienated every single one of his voters out there. In that, that's why the old people are the way they were doing it before and the way it's happening now. That's why they're not getting the type of stuff, because the rhinos don't know what the hell they're doing, and nobody wants to deal with them. You guys put your VIPs above the voters, and we see it at every single event we go to. That's the difference. That's the true difference. So, anyways, Ashlee has been on this wrong side of this from the very beginning. And I don't understand how. She knows the political stuff. She knows law enforcement. She knows how law enforcement acts. She knows when law enforcement. She's got a huge team of a bunch of attorneys, producers, and stuff that the Bullhorn Betty channel doesn't have. And for her to get this stuff wrong, she's going out of her way to get it wrong. And I don't know if she feels like in her gut she's going to be right. And so she just keeps going until she comes out right. But she's not. She's not. I'm going to tell you, she's going to lose her footing on this case because I'm showing her on my channel because she's an idiot. I'm not showing her on my channel on this case because I think she's got some information that's going to help the Bullhorn Betty channel or explain this case. I'm putting her up here because she's ridiculous when it comes to this case. She's absolutely ridiculous. This man was not threatened with his life. That girl, Ashlee should never have been arrested for a felony. It was trumped up charges, and he got caught with his pants down. He was lying. And even when we all heard it, like he's walking out the door saying, well, if you want to call and text me, just, call and text me. And she's saying, I'm surprised you're not concerned about going to jail. And as soon as she says that, he wants out of the house and he goes straight to a law enforcement and has her thrown in jail. He's a piece of shit. I'm sorry, he's a piece of shit. What a joke. And then you got numbnuts here, co-signing all his bullshit. And I'm just sitting here thinking, man, what the hell's going on with you, Ashlee? What the hell is going on with you? You're co-signing somebody violate. You know what, Ashlee? If you were in a room with me and I asked you about whether you feel like you're going to jail and you ran out and had me thrown in jail first, what? You think people should co-sign that when you did wrong? Or let's put it on the other. We know you don't like admitting when you did wrong, Ashlee. Let's say Bullhorn Betty did something wrong. I know it'd be a lot easier for you to swallow that pill, right? You think I should be able to run out to an officer and have you thrown in jail just because you were questioning me about my my ability to do something, or whether I'm breaking the law or something like that, you think that's okay? And you're going to double down for that Yahoo? Ashlee, what happened to you? Miss Banfield, what the hell has happened to you?
Travel. And now that she's free of that ankle monitor that she had to wear because of that false imprisonment charge last week, she's free to move about the country. But you would imagine that she'd stay put in her home, given her 9-year-old daughter, Melodee Buzzard.
Well, that's the problem, Ashlee, because you're too stupid. Maybe stop with the bleach. Maybe the bleach is like frying the last little bit of the brain cells you've got left upstairs. Her child is not missing. She did not report her child missing. Law enforcement reported her child missing after her child was observed with her mom. Okay? This is the stupidest case I've ever seen. The stupidest case. Like, law enforcement should be ashamed. Like, what the hell? I can't wait until you guys get sued. Somebody needs to be representing this chick.
Is missing, right? Maybe not. Because tonight we have new and exclusive video. You're looking at it. This is Ashlee loading up moving boxes and appliances into a U-Haul truck and then driving away from the family's home in Lompoc, California. She's still got her little boots and her purse slung on her arm, her wig in a ponytail. Her daughter Melodee hasn't been seen in 43 days now, and she's the reason that Ashlee's every move is now being watched, and not just by us. Our source tells us that as soon as Ashlee left in that U-Haul truck today, wearing her signature wig and booties, the detectives and or federal agents, quote, flipped a U-turn and tailed her. We don't know where she went in that U-Haul, but we do know she returned home. That happened later. She was in an Uber. And it goes without saying that we're going to keep watching.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app.
Oh, where's all the hate channels on the stalking case now? I mean, she's under investigation, right, by mainstream media. Where's the protective order for Ashlee Banfield? Oh, that's right, because it's covered under your journalistic abilities, right? Under First Amendment freedom of speech. That's right. You stupid hate channels. Stupid freaking hate channels. Stupid hate channels. Don't even realize. Yes, you can do that. All right, so she's moving, again, I don't have qualms with her moving. As a matter of fact, I think she should. I don't trust, I'll be honest with you. You guys know I don't trust law enforcement out here. And it's because I feel like they deceived the public. And you guys know how I feel about that. I'm not down like 4 flat tires on deceiving the public. Now, if it was for something other than like a child truly was missing, I'm fine with it. Anything to bring a child home that's truly missing. What we have here is a child that's not truly missing. That's the problem. We had a missing report made when the child was observed where they were supposed to be with the mother. The only reason why they're doing what they're doing is because they think they have the rights to say, oh, well, you put a wig on a child. That's suspicious activity, so we have a right to be in your life. Sorry, that's actually exactly what our laws prevent from happening. So everything that they're doing, we actually have laws to prevent law enforcement from doing what they're doing. And I know that because I studied the law. And I'm seeing clear violations of the law. Okay? Clear violations. These aren't violations that we think are going on. These are clear violations of the law. It was clear that they were railroading this woman. It is clear that they feel that they have a right to be in this woman's life, and they do not. And I think that she needs to be going and getting a protective order from law enforcement. At the end of the day, she has a right to say, hey, these people are harassing me when I've committed no crimes. And if they bring up the fact that her child is missing, it doesn't matter. She has a right, and she can say that I have a right to take my child any damn well place I want to, and I don't have to answer anybody's questions. I haven't abused my child, hurt my child, or harmed a hair on my child's head, and I'm not complying. In the state of California, if you guys want to give me my warning for my child not being in school, you can go ahead. But I like I said, my child's out of the state. I chose to take my child out of the school. So you guys don't even really have a leg to stand on there either. So I believe she took all these things to her storage unit. I believe she has a storage unit. She's going to be packing up stuff. I think she's going to be moving out of this home just as humanly possible. I think the deal is to get a home packed up and then, you know, I have a funny feeling she's just going to get up one day and just walk away. And walk away when nobody's trailing her. And she's going to go somewhere and be picked up, and that's going to be it. She's going to go and get whatever she's going to get, and she's going to be on the road. And that is her right. You do not have to comply with being stalked by the government. Again, I'm very, very, very big on rights, parental rights. I don't agree with any of this. I don't agree with her putting her child in a wig. I don't agree with her not having her child in school. But I do believe, after everything I've read and seen, that even the child not being in school was just a paperwork issue. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't something not to have a child in school. Clearly, her child was happy and healthy and able to do the work like she's done years prior to. So what caused it? The only thing that would cause, in my opinion, cause this work not to be completed is if it wasn't assigned to the child, or they had an internet or computer issue where they couldn't physically sign into the account. And if that was the case, I mean, I could see where Ashlee had a iPad. We got to hear Ashlee speak when they released the audio to court. This is a woman that seems to be pretty smart and knows what she's doing. She seemed very put together. Far cry from the basket case that they have been trying so desperately to paint about this woman. This woman is smart. She knew what was going on. She wasn't losing her shit like Tyler was saying. You know, he lied. He lied, and he further lied and tried to blame it on her mental acuity. That woman was sharp as shit. And I've been trying to warn you guys, be careful just taking everybody's word for it, because something was not right in this case, and law enforcement was lying to people, and I could feel it. And the school was lying to people, and I could feel it, and I couldn't figure out why. So it made me question everything that was being stated here, and so I had to trust my gut, and my gut tells me that I know mentally ill people. They have a record, a huge record, a mile long, showing their mental illness coming up to this point. We had none of that. We have no crimes against this woman. We have none of that. She's not a criminal. You just don't go from 0 to 60 like that unless you have a history of going from 0 to 60, okay? She has no history of this. She has no history of abuse to a child. What would make you think that with no history of abuse to a child, the leap going directly to from her not abusing the child to her selling this child or unaliving this child? It doesn't make any damn sense. Because it's not true. The only thing that makes it goes back to Occam's razor. The only thing that makes sense where we don't have to put so much assumption into the case would be that she's hiding this child from the state. All of her actions appear to be she's hiding this child from the state. And so that's kind of where we are. Anyways, guys, I want to appreciate you guys for coming out, hanging out with me. Today is Saturday. As many of you know, today is Delilah's Playdate Day. And so we are going to be at my best friend's house having a Playdate. Don't forget, today's probably a great day. Today, tomorrow, or Monday is going to be a great day to start getting out your birds, your hams, and everything else in preparation for the Thanksgiving holiday. So if you guys have a favorite recipe, send that over to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We are going to start reading a recipe per show, if we get enough of them, per show, and we're going to debut those recipes for you guys at home. If you guys have that amazing side dish and you want to share it with other people so they can be the belle of the ball, send it to Bullhorn Betty. Say Thanksgiving meal. Thanksgiving meal is going to be the subject line. That's how I'll just put Thanksgiving. If you guys have Thanksgiving on it, then I should be able, because I'm going to do the search for Thanksgiving. So if you guys know, I always try to give you what I'm going to be searching for, so you guys know to put that in the body of it. So when I search for it, it pulls up your stuff. Otherwise, you guys are going to send me a whole bunch of stuff, and if you don't put Thanksgiving on there, I'm not going to pull it up, and you're going to be missed. So holidays, if you guys have that special recipe, send that over. Again, bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. We are here. We're going to be with you and hold your hand through this crazy Thanksgiving holiday, guys. Please share the thankfulness. Everybody here has something to be blessed for. You have something more than somebody else in this world has. So be thankful for that. And if you have just a little bit, give back. We are doing a huge push with Winn-Dixie this year to get people out across this country buying a $10 or $15 grocery bag for a disadvantage. So if you have an extra $10 or $15, don't send it to Bullhorn Betty. Go out there and pick yourself up a Thanksgiving treat for a family that could really use it. That's going to be my request for everybody out there. I know every year we do some things. You guys do wonderfully nice things for me. But this year for Thanksgiving, I really, really want you to take those funds and send it and spread it in your community. I'd like you to go out to your nearest grocer and buy one of those thankful bags for a disadvantaged family. If you could do that, that would be the best treat for Bullhorn Betty and family. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another with those thankful gift bags for Thanksgiving. Yay, 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 yay. Today's the big push, guys. We're down to the wire. So if you're going to participate in this Gobble Gobble special for the disadvantage, we got to do it today and tomorrow. All right, guys. Love ya. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.